Hello everyone, welcome to this demo class on DevOps certification training. Today in this session, I'll be taking you through why you should consider a career in DevOps and what are the kind of salaries that you can expect when you go into the DevOps space. So let's get started with the session. So let's get started first with the agenda. So we're going to start this session by understanding DevOps as itself, as a technology. How did it come into space? And after that, we're going to talk about what is DevOps exactly, followed by why you should consider pursuing a career in DevOps. And finally, we will be telling you how you can get started in order to transition your career into DevOps. So guys, this is the agenda for this session. Now, in between, I will be taking questions from the live chat. So if you have any questions, do mention it in the live chats and I will be happy to answer all of them. Also guys, there is a form that I will be posting in the live chat right away. So just fill this form, and any point of the time if you feel you might be interested in this DevOps certification training, do go ahead and just fill this form. Alright, so if you want to know more about the DevOps certification training as well, you can fill this form and our course advisors are going to help you in understanding how you can get started with the DevOps as a career. Having said that, now let's go ahead and get started with the session with the first topic, which is what is the need for DevOps. So guys, DevOps is basically a mindset, or it's basically a process through which what you try to do is automate the communication between two teams, right? Now this all might seem confusing or gibberish to you, that why you want to go ahead and you want to go ahead and solve problems between two teams, but it basically has a history, and let's understand how that history began. All right, so moving forward, so the need for DevOps actually came from the time when we were trying to create processes for software development. Now, what were these processes? So if you have to follow a structured way, if you have to follow a way in which businesses can actually pay you in order to develop their software, what is that way? And how to find the exact deadline when a software will be finished. So for that, they basically came up with a waterfall model. And what waterfall model gives you is visibility in 5 spheres of software development. The first sphere is the requirements phase, wherein the business tells the requirement that this is the kind of software we want. And then comes the next stage, wherein those requirements are understood and are converted into a design, basically a blueprint of how the software is going to be developed. Once that is done, third stage is implementation, where that design, once approved, once the blueprint is approved, the software is implemented. And once it's implemented, it is verified by the testing team, and then followed up by the maintenance team, who goes on and maintains that software once it goes on the production server. Right? So this was the first structured approach which came into place when software development was on the boom. Right? But this particular process had some flaws. Now, what were those flaws? We're going to understand that once we understood what the agile model is. So the problem was, guys, that if I'm giving you an order for a software with all the features that I thought should be there in that software, you will take some X amount of time to develop that software. But what you're trying to do in the waterfall model is you take all the requirements that are required for the software, right? And then you go ahead and build that software. Now what that does is it takes up a lot of time, because rather than picking up all the features, why don't you pick up the top 5 features that you need in your software, give it to the business, and then understand if there's any change in the requirements that they might need in the requirements that they have already given you. See, especially in the internet space, when you're operating, every day there are new trends which are emerging on social media, on Google searches, right? And this is what the internet businesses are trying to capture, right? So because of so many changes, there are a lot of changes which are required in the products of the internet businesses. Now, if there are changes required in the internet businesses, obviously you would need a team who can work at that level and implement the changes as fast as possible, right? So that's what the agile model was all about. You give me some features, I develop those features, I'll give it to you, and then we'll start the next set of features. And if you think that you need change in these features, you go ahead and tell me those changes, and I'll implement it in the next release of the software that I'm going to give you, right? But compared to waterfall model, this was not at all possible. You once the requirements were given for the design phase, if the business try to approach the company and say, you know what, the requirements that we have given you, according to our business, we think we might need some changes in that. Well, that's not possible. Not until the software is complete, where then they might think about how that software has to be transformed. So this was a big gap in software development, and that was solved using the agile model. Now, followed by the agile model, you had the lean model. So lean model is exactly like the agile model, but lean model basically focuses more on the fact that, okay, so time was reduced to give to the business the first prototype of the software. But how do you go ahead and reduce that time even further with the point of view of project management, with the point of view of reducing wastage, reducing unnecessary communication in meetings? So that's what the lean model was all about. So lean model had a different approach towards software development. It took an approach towards project management and at the same time implementing agile principles. So that's what the lean model was all about. Now, from this, what are we trying to achieve? So from all these models that we have developed, what did we try to achieve? We try to establish that, okay, if the business is coming and they're coming to the software developer saying that I need a product, right? They're going back happy, they are engaged, they are the time taken to develop the software, the deadlines, whatever a business plan requires, that can be given to a company when they come to us for a product. So all this was done to reduce time, to increase productivity, right? Now, here comes DevOps. So why is DevOps needed in the time that we are talking about now? So think about, a developer, and he develops a feature, let's say, right? And he gives it to the testing team and he says, you know what, I've developed the feature, go ahead and please test it. Now the tester will test your feature, and maybe your feature has some problem, he will report it back to you. So this is a funny meme depicting that scene, but this is exactly how developers and testers were, when there was no proper use of versioning, when there was no proper use of technology to maintain software code or software application, right? So this is a funny set, but coming back to what is DevOps exactly? So DevOps is all about the fact that, okay, so you have solved the problem of taking deadlines, the problem of releasing software faster, of increasing productivity. You have done that. But if you look at the core team, how the team communicates inside, if you solve that as well, it will increase your productivity towards 100x or even 200x, and those are the kind of numbers that we're going to see in a moment, right? But this is what DevOps is. DevOps is a simple process through which two teams, that is developers, testers, operations, admin, all these teams can interact with each other through automation. They don't have to send emails to each other, they don't have to send code to each other via mail, or they don't have to tell them that this is the link where you will find the code. Everything happens automatically. If a developer pushes something on the website which is storing the code, which in this case will be either GitHub or any version control system, that code will automatically be deployed on the testing server, right? You don't have to ask the testing team to do it for you. So that is the kind of automation that we're talking about, and that is exactly what DevOps brings into play, right? So DevOps is all about maximizing efficiency with automation in the software development lifecycle. And how does it achieve it? It achieves it using this lifecycle that you see, and for each lifecycle phase, you have an automation tool, a tool which can automate itself, right? For example, for code, for versioning, the most popular tool in the world, you have GitHub, right, which is also free. So a lot of people use GitHub to get their code running, and GitHub is also a side of enterprise business which a lot of companies uses, right? So GitHub is a popular tool, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of tools involved in this DevOps concept. But this was all about DevOps. So you okay? So you understand? Okay, so as a process, I understand it's cool, but why should I go ahead and pursue a career in this, right? So let's go ahead and understand why should you go ahead and pursue a career in DevOps. So guys, this is the number of jobs in India and the jobs in US. So in India there are about 28,000 jobs with average salary of 14 lakhs per annum, right? In the US there are about 1.5 lakh jobs with a salary of around 1.41 $1,41,960 per year. So this is a very handsome salary. So because why are you getting these kind of salaries, right? That the reason for that is written over here. So DevOps, when it was introduced and it was implemented in software development life cycles, it reduced failures in production by 3 times. Recovery times were improved by 24 times, and development frequency increased by almost 200 times, right? So this was the kind of improvements that it brought in software development lifecycle, and that is the reason so many software companies, so many product companies, they're hiring DevOps engineers, and the number speaks for itself. These are the number of job openings today, right? Or in this week, that you see that these are the number of job openings that are there currently, which are out there and through which you can apply and you can get a job done. Alright, similarly here in the US as well, these numbers are taken from glassdoor.com, and these numbers, they are basically from this week. So there are these many job openings with this much amount of salary which is being given for this career. Okay, now that we understand, okay, so it is a lucrative career, there are abundant of jobs, we understand that job salary is also good. So how do you get started if you're convinced that you want to go for DevOps, right? So there are a lot of places that we as Edureka have posted our content. We have posted it on YouTube, we have posted it on community, and we're going to come to that. But first, let's understand, if you have to get started, and forget about Edureka, if you have to learn DevOps, how will you tackle the DevOps profile? What are the kind of skills that you'll have to learn in order to get into this job role? So let's understand that. So if you aim to become a DevOps engineer in the company McAfee, guys, you will have to learn all these skills. You will have to learn Terraform, you'll have to learn Agile, you'll have to learn CI/CD, DynamoDB, DevOps, right? So these are all the kind of skills that you'll have to learn in order to get into a company like McAfee. Okay, sounds good. Let's have a look at another profile from a DevOps engineer. So here you see the same kind of skills. They expect you to know Kubernetes, they expect you to know configuration management, public cloud, monitoring, right? So these are different skills which are expected, but on the same lines that what DevOps is all about, right? Then here is another job description from the company Rakuten, and here you can see skills like CI/CD pipeline, configuration management, Terraform, Kubernetes, Python, Go, Docker container. So all these things, they are supposed to be learned in order to become a DevOps engineer, right? Now this is the summarized version for it. So if you are to learn version control, Git is the answer for you. If you are to learn containerization, Docker is the answer for you. If you want to learn more about CI/CD pipeline, Jenkins is the answer for you. And if you want to learn a Python programming language or a Golang programming language, then then you should go with these programming language, because these are very popular programming languages right now, right? For configuration management, you can go for Puppet. Monitoring tools, you can learn ELK. A public cloud platform, you have 3 options, the 3 top cloud providers, which are AWS, Azure, and GCP. Just learn one of them. So these are the skill sets that you'll have to learn in order to become a DevOps engineer. Okay. Now that you know the skills, now what is the plan forward? How do you learn these skills? Right, is the question, and that will be addressed in a moment. But before that, if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer in the live chat. Any questions, guys? I'll take a pause for 30 seconds. If any of you has any doubts with respect to anything that we covered till now, do let me know and I'll be happy to answer all your queries. Any questions? Any questions, guys? Okay, let's start like this. Am I audible, guys? Can you please type yes in the chat if I'm audible? Okay, Devesh has a question. He asks, what is GCP? So, Devesh, GCP is a Google Cloud platform. It's similar to what AWS and Azure are. So, in simple terms, it's basically a product of cloud computing. That's what GCP and it is from Google. Nitish says, I want to learn all these. I know some tools out of it. I'm 10 plus experience. That's great, Nitish. So, what is your plan forward? How do you plan on learning these? Santosh says, yes, great Santosh. Surya says, I have 10 years of ops experience and I know coding a bit. Can I do it? Of course, Surya. So, coding is required only to the extent that you should understand logics, how to write an if statement if given in any programming language, how to write a loop, right? What is a data structure, right? So these kind of things, but not DSA in depth, but in general, what is a data structure? Can you create an array? These kind of things, if you can do, then this much coding is enough. And with your ops experience, of course, that will be a boost, into the profile. Okay. Siddhalinga says yes. Krishna says yes. All right. Nitish says, what is the scope of career in this? Well, Nitish, I showed you the numbers, right? So in India, you have currently, right now, you have around 29,000 job openings just for DevOps engineer, right? Similarly, if let's say you are in some other country, let's talk about US. So US has 1,44,000 openings, right? And the simple reason for that is you have a lot of tech startups, tech companies over there, right? And similarly in India the scene is booming, but not that much, but you can see the raise, and this number is going to go up. So at least what US is right now, in India slowly and gradually, I think in the next 4 to 5 years you will see that boom, that similar boom in India also. And for a 10 plus experience like you specified, I understand where you're coming from. So yes, I mean the benefits and other things are good. You can expect a good salary if you see. DevOps engineers can start from a junior level profile to the most senior level profile, and the salary ranges between 10 lakhs to 45 lakhs also. But if in 45 range, you basically become a solutions architect, and that will automatically happen because not only you're learning DevOps, you're also learning a public cloud platform like AWS or Azure or GCP. So when you delve into AWS, it itself is a different creature, and slowly and gradually your career will progress like that. That will become a solutions architect if you go on this journey. Surya says, what is the commitment we are looking here in terms of preparation for career change, daily hours, and for how long as we need to manage both sides? Very good question, Surya. So that's where we understood that this is what is the gap in the market, that Monday to Friday you have your office. So when do you learn a new technology? How do you do a career change? And that's where what we have done is we do our classes on the weekends, right? We do it on the weekends, or we do it on the weekdays as well. So some people like to do it early in the morning. So we have, for those, they can attend the weekday session. If you want to do it on the weekends, then there is a there's a session which starts at 8 p.m. Now, in terms of commitments, well, let me tell you about how the training is conducted, right? So the training will be conducted by an instructor who will be 10 plus years of experience, and he will be a DevOps engineer himself, and he would have gone through a rigorous process of understanding how well he can teach, because not all people who know well can teach well as well, right? So he is evaluated on that level as well, and he will have a very reputed profile, and you can check that as well before you enroll. Apart from that, you also get support team from Edureka, which will not only guide you technically, but also help you understand what is your progress. You will also get mock interviews, to if you want to appear for an interview for a DevOps engineer. you'll get mock interviews from real technical managers who hire in the industry. So they also work with us as freelancers and do interviews for us. So that is also one space that you will be exposed to. There are a lot of things you can explore it. I think you can have the course link from Edureka and you can check out about the course. Okay, Santosh says, what is the role of a DevOps engineer? Well, Santosh, his job is to ensure that DevOps is implemented in the software team. His job is to ensure that DevOps principles are followed, the DevOps pipelines are created using the automation tools that he'll have to learn and understand that how to implement a DevOps pipeline. Implementing a DevOps pipeline involves a lot of things, right? It's a lot of lift and shift, and that's all what the DevOps engineer guy will do for you. Krishna says, please recommend for me what I should focus on. Should I focus on an extra course like Python? I am studying from the AMCT group. Well, Krishna, why don't you get in touch with us? So there's a link over here, right? So we have post advisors, we have technical experts whom you can get in touch with. If not, even if you don't have to buy the course, even if you just want to understand what the market situation is, if you have questions like how will I manage it with my timing, if you just want to understand what is the scope of this career as well, you can just fill out this form and one of our course advisors will get in touch with you and who will also help you understand this as a technology, what is the scope of it, and you can just have a chat even if you don't have to buy it. Alright. Mr. Khan has a question. He says, any best practice for a support engineer of Exchange to move as a DevOps engineer, given that no Linux or Python experience? Well, you will need Linux experience for sure, Mr. Khan, but what you don't require is Python anyways, because if you understand any one programming language, the basics of Python can be learned in less than 10 to 15 days. I mean, like when you go through a disciplined regime, let's say on the weekends if you're studying, I think within 10 to 15 days you can learn Python that much. So that won't be a problem, and I don't think companies, when they are recruiting you only that because you don't know Python and some other programming language, they will not accept you. That will never be the case. But coming to Linux experience, that is something which you will have to learn, and that is also something that we also teach in the course, right? Because we understand most of the production systems out there, they work on Linux, right? So if you want to become a DevOps engineer and if you have to work on the production systems, testing systems, etc., you will have to learn Linux, and that itself is not a big deal. I mean, if you want to learn Linux, if you just go through, and the way we teach you Linux is we have a self-paced course, right? So you go through it, you have assignments. Once you solve those assignments, in our experience, you have good enough knowledge of Linux that is required for you to become a DevOps engineer. So that's not a big deal. Don't worry about not knowing Linux or Python in general, a programming language. But yes, one programming language or any programming language, you should understand the basics. That is something that you'll have to know. Okay. Alright. Any more questions, guys? Anything for me? Also, guys, we just have 11 likes on this session and we have 43 people watching. Let's make the likes go up. It motivates us to bring more such sessions for you. If you have more questions, guys, do let us know in the live chat and I'll be happy to answer. If not, let me quickly take you through the DevOps course that we have. So just give me a quick moment. Alright, so this is how our DevOps page looks like, and what you do over here is you scroll down, you can have a look at our curriculum over here, and this curriculum is exactly mapped to the job descriptions which are out there, right? So we have gone through 5,000 plus job descriptions, understood what are the skills required, right, for anybody to become a DevOps engineer, and we have included all those skills in this course. So you can be rest assured that after doing this course, this is a totally job oriented course. You will definitely get a job, right? And how do we ensure that? We conduct mock interviews, we give you a lot of real life case studies to solve, right? You are taught from a top DevOps instructor who has more than 10 plus years of experience. So with all this, your success probability goes a lot up, right? And that is exactly what you're going to do. Going to be there for you, and of course, we're going to push you through the journey, right? We want you to be a successful DevOps engineer, and we want you to be successful in your career transition, and that is exactly what we do with our customers, right? Okay, going ahead, let's also look at what are the other benefits that you will get with this course. So you get lifetime access of the course, which basically means you get not only today but anytime after 2 months also. If you feel like you want to attend the live sessions again, you can do that for a lifetime, right? So it is not just one instructor for which you're paying for all the pool of instructors that we have, right? And whenever you want to refresh your concepts, you can again attend the live class and understand how one or the other thing is supposed to be done, right? So that is one. Second thing is you get a 24/7 expert support team with us, and what that means is that we will have a technical team, we will have a team which is going to answer all questions of yours, because once the instructor class is over, of course you'll be doing your self-study, of course you'll be stuck somewhere, of course you will have questions, so you can't wait for the next weekend for your instructor to answer your questions, right? So if you want an immediate solution, our team of technical supports specialists are there available, and they are trained in that technology, and they have gone through each and every corner of your course, and they understand each and every service that you are going to learn, right? So they are going to assist you in any kind of doubt that you have, and that can either also be a practical doubt. Let's say you're doing a hands-on or a demo and you're solving a case study and you get stuck somewhere and something is not happening, they can assist you there as well. So that is the kind of technical support that we give you, right? And we will have 36 hours of online sessions when you enroll with us, and that can either be taught to you on the weekdays or on the weekend. And for more info, you always can fill out that form that I have given in the live chat, and we will get in touch with you in case you have more doubts. Okay, so last round, any questions guys, anything that you want me to answer for you? I will be happy to answer all those queries. Otherwise, it's a wrap, and I'll be taking a leave from you all. Any questions that you want me to answer for you? Any questions? Okay, so if there are no more questions, I thank you all for joining in. Thank you so much for your time. I wish you all the best in your journey, and I hope to see you in the next class. All right, have a great day. Bye bye.